Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, fans of Skytear. Welcome to the bronze match for the October World Championship. I am your host, RGCommander, reporting for duty. Today's bronze game will be featuring Eric, also known as wiwwt, versus Mikhael. Before the match, we had the coin toss, and we saw that Mikhael won the coin toss and elected to go second. As we do know that going second is a big part of Eric's strategy, and so Mikhael wanted to take that particular advantage away from him. Our objectives today will be the Tamer, 2 kills using an outsider, as well as double kill, defeating 2 enemies during a single activation. Eric already starting off the battlefield here nice and strong with the Freyhill coming online, Mikhael responding with his core heroes Hokusai and Yami. I may have mentioned this yesterday, at some point, Mikhael and I do run identical decks, so I am very familiar with what his deck does and how it is supposed to go. For those of you who did watch yesterday's broadcast, you will note that this was a very close match. Eric did manage to eventually destroy my Nexus on, I believe it was turn 4. But it was a very close match nonetheless, and so Eric knows that he will have to bring his A game, and Mikhael knows that he will need to bring his A game as well. As this is the 3rd place match, there are Skytear shards for the championship on the line. The loser of this match, finishing 4th, will get 3. The winner will get 6. And if I have my notes correct, neither of these players has, as of yet, qualified for the World Championships, which means that these extra 3 shards are very relevant to them. So we finish off the draft from Mikhael. Yami is that Tilakali coming in there? Yep, Tilakali and Freyhill in the reserve. And Astrida coming in with Korjov in the reserve, along with... Wait a minute, that's not right. That isn't updated because Brovar is not in the tracker. Oh, Eric's still cleaning up his cards, that's why. Okay, so that we'll get that fixed in just a second for the overlay. So if I look at the results while we're doing that real quick, Eric has 5 Skytear shards, and Mikhael has 2. So therefore, right now, this is prior to this particular tournament. So now Eric is at 8, Mikhael is at 5. So Eric can go up to 11 or Mikhael up to 8 with this particular victory. So a lot of the work on the line for our players. All right, there we go. Now the overlay has been updated. So we do see Korjov is in reserve, Brovar in the center, probably going to contest that first token, potentially. We do know that this deck likes to go second for Eric, just as a personal preference, but Mikhael electing to go second because this deck that Mikhael is running also prefers to go second. The heroes, the outsiders of choice, Mikhael is bringing the Silent Ambassador. We are a huge proponent of everything the Silent Ambassador can do on Ashen Pass. Attacking, slowing, repositioning. It's a very, very versatile outsider on the Ashen Pass map. Meanwhile, Eric bringing in the Terror of the Endless Night. Terror of the Endless Night, very good for, again, also positioning. You can use the Dreadful Majesty, the Roar to disarm, reposition, to push heroes. You can also give one of your heroes Frenzy. Given that Astrida is on the field, that could potentially mean 2 minions dead for Mikhael, 2 minions spawned for Eric. That could be double piercing attacks for Freyhill or for Korjov once one of the heroes die. I assume that we'll probably see some heroes die here. Let's see what we have to start. So Brovar is going to be our first activation here. Makes absolute sense. Cast the Worship on Freyhill. Again, allowing her to get lane control, and Brovar is going to head into the dome. I expect the final one will be a lead in order to, or potentially, he has to be a lead. He already worshipped. So there we go. It is a lead. Now, unlike Clinton from yesterday's game, Eric has a lot more +3 cards, 3 mana cards in his hand and in his deck. So therefore, less likely to run afoul of an unfortunate lead from deck should that occur. We do see, however, that the first lead was from hand, so Eric knows exactly what the control value of that is. Mikhael can suppose that it is most likely a 3 based on what he knows of how Eric plays. So the important point here now is Tilakali is alive, and Tilakali is able to bring down a pillar before Astrida activates. So this is going to potentially mitigate some of Astrida's pushing power here. Astrida will, of course, be able to attack 2 minions, and Tlakalli will have to soak up some damage in order to prevent the minions, but that will prevent the minion deaths, which in turn then will prevent Eric from just completely slamming the lane. Because Astrida does need to kill a minion before she can spawn a minion. In addition, Tlakalli also brings stone barricades to this particular matchup as well. So therefore, using the worship action and a stone barricade in hand would allow Mikhael to protect all 3 minions at once, if he so chooses. He could also potentially, depending on where Astrida positions, I expect Astrida probably to position herself in one of the cover hexes, just because that prevents the line of sight and prevents any charm or other particular unwanted effects from taking place. So Tlakalli activates. This makes perfect sense here to me. We're going to move, worship, I assume, and then probably attack a minion, just to get a little bit of lane pressure going in Mikhael's favor. And this, I do think, is one of the stylistic differences that we should talk about. So Mikhael brought Tlakalli to counter Astrida, and yesterday I chose to bring Miyuki, knowing that Miyuki brings exhaustions as well as her overall within 3 ability. I thought that it was important to mitigate damage. Of course, we also did see that Eric drafted Korhoff first as opposed to his reserve hero, so there were some differences in draft choice as well that influence those decisions. But the nice thing about this deck is that it is flexible depending on what you want your specialist to do. All right, so Tlakalli is going to go ahead and worship. We're going to summon a pillar right there. Makes sense. I assume that Tlakalli will now move into the cover hex and then attack a minion. Or is she going to go into the dome and force Eric to commit more if he wants that bear? Now, the trade-off for this would be that you would absolutely need to have a stone barricade in order to protect your minions, because Tlakalli would no longer have line of sight to a pillar. So let's see what the move results to. Is it move 2 into the hex, or is it move 3 into the dome? We did see some... Okay, we are... Neither. The answer is we are going 3 up and presenting ourselves as a nice, juicy target. I'm interested why he did this. All right. Mikhael is going to attack the minion as his final result. Dead min... Oh, no. Not where you want to see your +3s, especially not for one of your active heroes. Very dead minion, but nevertheless, kind of a wasted alt flip there, or a wasted +3 flip. So Eric probably happy to see that. Knows that the supernova is not in Mikhael's hand. Doesn't have to worry about that until we have a deck cycle. The next activation, I wonder, do we activate Freyhill to kill off the pillar and then allow Astrida to do her thing? Or do we just kind of go and shoot the minions and try to get Tlakalli to absorb some damage and set up for a possible turn 2 kill on Tlakalli? I don't think that we kill Tlakalli round 1 here, given the state of the board here. Even with an outsider, that seems a little bit aggressive. Possible, but a little bit aggressive. Although the Terror will activate as the second outsider, of course, because it is in Control Zone 3. So in the situation that Eric sets up damage on Tlakalli, Mikhael should be able to wormhole Tlakalli away before the Terror comes in for any type of kill pressure. Looks like Freyhill is going to activate. Eric thinking about this one very carefully, as it is important. Yep, Freyhill is going to be our activation of choice. Freyhill is going to... Oh, we're going for a double dome play. All right. So in this situation, it looks like we're also going to pop the Flux. I believe I saw. Yes, and there's the presence. Okay. Freyhill now worth 5. So this is going to be interesting, assuming that she leads from deck, obviously. Or leads from the hand. Where there is the lead, very good. All right, so now Mikhael is in an interesting position. Neither Hokusai nor Yami has any way to extract Freyhill. So, do you So in this situation, Astrida can go into dome number 3 and force a tie, even if Mikhael commits both Hokusai and Yami, guaranteeing that he gets dome 2. If he sends... Yeah, Eric is guaranteed to get 1 dome here. Eric may get both domes. If Mikhael does not have a 3-mana lead, it's very risky with this deck to go from deck. And so Mikhael may be facing down a Silent Ambassador, Terror of the Endless Night, Bear Hug. No pun intended. That could potentially set up for very, very easy Tamer kills. Very possible for a double kill going into round 2. Because the Silent Ambassador, as I mentioned, pumps out a lot of damage. And the Terror also deals a decent amount of damage and can bestow Frenzy. So let's see what the choice is. We're going to activate Hokusai. Interesting. Okay. So we are going to move. No, we're not going to move. You're going to skirmish. Okay. Skirmish action, I assume we're going... Now, does Mikhael just say we're going to commit and set up to totally destroy the lane? I think that might be his play. Knowing that with that positioning, there's no way to get into the dome. Do we just move and attack a minion then, perhaps? If you don't end into the dome, then Astrida just goes into dome number 3 and you lose double dome automatically. So, at this point, you're basically committing to the lane. The best that you could possibly do is deny terror spawn locations, but ultimately that doesn't matter too much due to the fact that the Silent Ambassador can just wormhole around to re-optimally position. Okay, let's see what Mikhael is going to do. Okay, so we are going to deny some terror spawn points, it looks like. And then we're going to lead... So Mikhael is banking on Astrida not going in to the dome, or... Oh, I did not see that Freyhail did it predicted, so it doesn't matter that it's from the deck. So now Astrida is shapeshifted. She can get into the dome with a move skirmish. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. If there's a stone barricade, Astrida will not be able to get into the dome. So that could be Mikhael's play. If there's a stone barricade in hand, Hokusai drops the stone barricade at that pillar that would be to the right of, to the north right there, in between him and Freyhail. Astrida is not able to move into the dome. And then we can send Yami in to assist Hokusai and force a tie. The terror will still spawn, of course, but that would at least prevent the double dome play. So let's see. All right. We're going to skirmish, we're going to attack, and then I assume we're going to move into the dome. All right, Avalanche. So, similar to the Supernova, don't want to see that card as a flip. Going to clean up some minions, or some hero tokens here. Tilakali will eat the damage there from the skirmish, so that will be 2 damage to Tilakali. Overall, not too bad, still 14 hit points. I assume the next action is Astrida attacks. Yep, there we go. There is no pillar there, so... dead minion, yeah. Mikhael does not want to sit there and take 5 damage right off the bat. So Astrida will now sacrifice 2 hit points, down to 14, and I assume probably lead from somewhere, as this will then give Eric a massive pressure in the center. Or he could potentially just worship, as Brilvar is not currently shapeshifted, and you could shapeshift Astrida again to go for the end of the turn. That looks like what we're going to do. Eric is satisfied by having a 4-3 lead in the center, because I assume Yami has to go over to help Hokusai. So she will simply shapeshift herself. Also worth noting Nope, that's not worth noting. I lied. Just kidding. What is worth noting, however, I'm going to make a save, is that I have another spoiler card for tomorrow's finals. So the third place match, of course, as I mentioned, is what we're currently watching. The finals match, which will be against Ian and Clinton, I believe we are currently looking to schedule that one for 9:30 Eastern Daylight Time, which is GMT -4. Please do tune in, as I have a new green card. Giacomo was kind enough to give me one of the remaining cards to spoil as we near ever closer to the Endless Sun expansion release coming out the 13th of November. I'm excited. We're almost there. And so we'll be unveiling that card later after that particular finals games. All right, meanwhile, Yami going to activate Time Glitch, move through the minion. She will now, I assume, worship onto Freyhill to teleport into the dome. Or she may attack a minion first just to shrink down the lead here. It depends if Michael wants a push or wants to... Nope, we're going after Freyhill. That makes perfect sense. So I assume we teleport into the dome against Freyhill. Like so. We'll mark her. She will lose armor, so this will do piercing damage. Hokusai is within line of sight, and the mark does come down before the damage flip. So Freyhill... Ooh, and that's where you do want to see your ultimates be flipped, especially by your reserve here. So that's going to do 4 damage to Freyhill. That puts you to 12. And now potentially we see an attack on Freyhill, I would assume, to finish off. Hokusai has already led. So, ooh. We're going to lead... Oh, that's a lead from the deck for Hokusai. Yeah, in this case, you need to be careful here. Michael needs to hedge his bets here. That's the end of the round, so let's see what we have as a resolve. So, Brilvar led from a 3. Brilvar is obviously uncontested. Moment of Truth, Freyhill leads with a 3. Big shocker there. Yami leads with a 1. Hokusai leads with a 1. Unfortunate. So this is going to be a double outsider play for Eric. Silent Ambassador comes to the field, and Terror of the Endless Night comes to the field as well. So, the good news is that Michael's heroes are not terribly damaged. Thankfully, Tilakali did not absorb that 5 minion attack, or 5 minion damage, which would have dropped her down to 9. So, if Eric wants to kill Tilakali, it will require committing several resources to do so, but between the two of the Silent Ambassador and the Terror, it is certainly possible. Both of them have a 3+ flip. Silent Ambassador can also do the Stone Storm for 1+. And so Tilakali is within potential kill range. It would require some optimal flipping, but nevertheless still possible. So while the players go ahead and reorganize those minions, I just realized why Giacomo sent me that GIF, whichever. We're not gonna have the hot topic debate. All right, so let's see what happens. So first, the Silent Ambassador does spawn. Silent Ambassador must spawn adjacent to the perimeter of the dome in which it resides. As of right now, that means it can spawn anywhere in the lane or one of the 3 inside the dome, whereas the Terror needs to spawn in a cover hex. So Hokusai smartly taking the cover hex inside the dome will prevent the Terror from spawning in there. And we'll see what happens with the position. All right, so double kill is an option, as is the Tamer. So I think in this situation, just based on the durability of the heroes, Tamer seems to be a more attractive option. There's not really anyone particularly squishy that's easy to gun down here. Even with a double activation of Outsiders, it seems a little bit much to ask for. Seems there is a little bit of discussion going on here as of right now because we've spawned minions in lane 1, but we have yet to place the Outsiders, so I'm not sure if we're discussing a potential rules implication or what the situation could be. We'll go ahead and check in the rules Discord. Nope, there are no rules being consulted, at least not within the rules channel here, so just kind of taking our time here, leisurely, of course. Gonna work our way through the area here, and all right, so we're gonna go ahead and spawn now. So the Silent Ambassador is going to pop out right there into a cover hex, it looks like. Interesting. If you wanted to target Tilakali, you could have moved up one and then made your terror spawn. Oh, no. You can't do that. Silent Ambassador has to spawn adjacent to your dome. And so while we're waiting, let's just talk about a new card here. Unfortunately, my creative juices are kind of a bit lacking at the moment. I apologize to our viewers for that. So let's just say that it is a green card, and it is a 1 mana card. It is a green card and a 1 mana card. Okay, so we're going to have the Silent Ambassador and the Terror. Nope. What? Ooh. Okay, we are going to skirmish against Tilakali. So I assume we're going to Stone Storm her now because we had to get in range there. All right, that's going to be a bit of damage there. That appears to be the attack on Tilakali there, as that was 5 damage to her. And then will we go for a Stone Storm, or are we going to do some sort of swap? You could potentially swap the Terror and her. I don't really think that makes any sense. I assume then that Eric will either use the Stone Storm or the Prediction, as there isn't really any other benefits. And meanwhile, we're just going to go ahead and put the Silent Ambassador's hit points on the board, as well as the Terror's hit points on the board. Probably not going to be relevant, as there's plenty of stuff to kill without targeting the outsiders, but never know. All right, so Eric is now going to use the Terror. We're going to skirmish in there. And of course, I put the chips right on top. Yami is going to get dragged away by the Dreadful Roar, or the, what is it called? Terrible Majesty. Dreadful Majesty, there we go. I combined 2 different abilities. I was wrong on both counts. Then we're going to shout at them. Clearly, the bear is the CDC agent shouting at them for not obeying social distancing, and so we have to spread Hokusai and Yami apart. However, of course, Hokusai refuses to listen to that and then goes next to Freyhill, and as a result is crippled with the slow condition. So in this situation now, Michael is kind of locked up in this dome. Now, with Yami, you can still get to Freyhill using some skirmish actions, or even, really, you could mark the outsider and then swing around him to get to Freyhill if you so chose. That would be a possible option if we're going to go for an assassination. All right, so Hokusai is going to play Doom. Freyhill did activate. And so what was the flip? Freyhill is now going to, is that charm going to be played as a result, I assume, on herself, or was that the card that needed to be flipped? Ah, that was the flip, actually. Okay. Sorry for the view shift. We want to take a look at that real quick. We'll get right back into the camera range. So that was the flip from the result of the Doom. So Freyhill does still... Oh, we forgot to move the round tracker up. Yep, I was going to say, I was like, why does Freyhill not have a mana point? There we go. All right, so Hokusai is now going to play Shield Slam, as Freyhill was attempting a move there. So first we're going to Doom her. Then we're going to Shield Slam her. That's going to put a slow on her. So wherever she's going, it's not very far. Hokusai will deal 2 damage to Freyhill as well. Ah, but Freyhill brings out the Psychic Shield, so there will actually be no damage. The slow will still go through, but remains at 12 hit points. So Very, very critical, as that means that you're not going to be as easily able to assassinate with a Hokusai Yami combo. You cannot move there, sir. There we go. There we go. You are slowed, even though the shield slam damage did not go through. You are not able to do that, so Freyhill is going to skitter away, it looks like. Now using the skirmish action. Going to set up for the Tilakali kill, it looks like. Flipping against there, that's going to be 2, -1 armor. Although Freyhill is shapeshifted, so there isn't actually armor involved at all. I apologize. That is a piercing attack, so Tilakali takes both points of damage. And then we're going to worship on, I assume, herself to finish the turn. Yep, we're going to clear off the mark and the slow and maintain the shapeshifted effect. Michael's next activation. So, what do we do in this case for Michael? Yami is currently slowed. It would require a move and a skirmish to get into range in order to worship on Freyhill, unless we have a clear mind. Tilakali also does bring charms as well. Although with her positioning, even after a skirmish, you would not... Oh, no, you can just simply skirmish and then worship on Freyhill. I miscounted there. So it is potential we may see Yami skirmish and then warp onto Freyhill with the worship action. Hokusai may also choose to activate. Tilakali may choose to activate. I am wondering a little bit more now about the positioning of Tilakali. I'm not sure why we didn't go for the cover hex. I guess, well, no, you could do that. You could have attacked the minion on the side if that was your only goal, and you would have forced the Scion Ambassador to use a move instead of a skirmish to be able to hit you. Oh well. I'm sure Michael had his reasons. We'll ask him about that in the postgame. One thing to keep in mind, however, of course, does Michael keep Tilakali's activation until last? Because if he does, he can bring in his own Freyhill readied as opposed to exhausted. If Tilakali goes, I think at that point Eric just goes after the Tilakali for the kill. Where the Scion Ambassador is positioned means that Freyhill would not be able to spawn within line of sight to the control token. And so therefore meaning that all she would be able to do is use 2 mana, which probably is not going to be relevant given that nobody is within position of influence. So I think in this case we leave Tilakali till the end and then activate her to potentially go for a dome snipe or some similar play there. All right, looks like we have some shuffling going around perhaps. Nope, still some action. So let's drop another thought here. Regarding this particular card that I have to show, I've already mentioned that it was green and 1 mana. Let's mention also that it is a reaction. Again, I apologize. I'm trying to draw up some witty, subtle references to make for it, but given that I'm currently solo casting and I don't have any good ideas coming out from a co-caster that I can use to make some terrible jokes and or obscure references, I'm a little bit calling a bit of a writer's block here, so I do apologize for that. So as of right now, we do know that it is green, 1 mana, and it is indeed a reaction card. I will also quote Giacomo. Whenever he gave me this card, he described this card as having a lot of text for a very simple effect. And I agree with him. The amount of text on this particular card is 4 full lines of text. There is a lot of text on this card. It is a useful card. I do believe that we will see it slotted into decks, as if I don't come up with anything witty, I will reveal the modifier next, probably in turn number 3, if I can't come up with anything witty about the name. And so I think then, based on that, and also based on what it does, I expect to see a lot of this card be played. I don't necessarily think that it would replace Stone Barricade. I think that perhaps it would serve as a complement to Stone Barricade. So it may be the case that you 3x this and Stone Barricade, or you split them. It doesn't matter, really. I don't play green very much, so the amount of strategy involving the green squad is limited to what I've been able to observe. All right, so back to the action. There we go. So we are activating Hokusai. Hokusai will go with the skirmish action here, moving out into the lane. So this tells me that potentially we are going to leave Yami in the dome or move Tilakali over there as part of her final action. Hokusai goes and attacks the minion there. I assume that there is a quick shot or a shield slam that Mikhael wants to use on the other minion. Well, there's one quick shot on the flip. That's not what we meant. Mikhael is holding 4 cards in hand, so very likely that we see that. At the end of round, because you don't always want to show your hand immediately for the quick shot plays, as you want to try and keep your opponent guessing when they're trying to do the maths. We say this pretty much every game. Skytear is a huge game of math, and sometimes that one point makes the difference. And so you usually want to activate that as kind of an end of round thing. Oh wait, Hokusai's out of mana. I apologize, I did not note that. What else did he play? I saw the shield slam come down. Did he play a second shield slam? Oh, he played a Doom, that's right. Whoops. So Hokusai cannot actually quick shot a minion. Let's see. Looks like we are going to target Tilakali from an attack. She just died. Okay. I missed that. We're going to peek up here. That had to involve something there. Oh, it was a strength of the pack. Okay, there we go. Man, I'm missing everything. This is another unfortunate thing of casting solo, is you miss a whole bunch of things because you're trying to catch up on other things. So Astrida played Call of the Pack. Call of the Pack does damage based on the number of minions in line of sight, and unfortunately there are 6 there, which means Tilakali dies. All right, so now Astrida is going to go ahead and attack the minion, destroy that minion, sacrifice 2 HP, and spawn another minion. I expect then that she may move and or potentially skirmish to reposition herself, and then finish off with the worship. Given that there is no fear for Doom, Astrida is perfectly safe being able to heal up using Freyhill's passive as long as she doesn't stray too far. Freyhill will spawn in ready for Mikhael as a result. But what can we do here in this case? Mikhael definitely, I think, in a little bit of a back seat here. The blue blob showing its presence very effectively in the control game here. All right, Astrida going to head to skirmish. Where is she going? Into the dome, I assume? Yep, okay, so we're going to go into the dome. I assume Brilvar will probably come out then, potentially to do some taunting positioning for the final, maybe even go into contest dome 2. Lead action as the final result. Very good then. So in that case, Eric wants to ensure then that he gets control of Dome 3, unless Mikhael wants to commit both a Yami and a Freyhill, as well as a 3 lead card. So let's see what the response is here. Yami is potentially able to, as I mentioned, skirmish and then worship onto Freyhill. Freyhill could move up, attack that Freyhill, attack the other Freyhill, and then skirmish into Dome 2, laying on some damage there, potentially setting up green Freyhill for a kill, although with 4 cards in hand, if Eric didn't have... Well, no, I think if I remember correctly, Eric doesn't actually like to use Nourish. He doesn't particularly care for the card there. I think all he has are sacrifices. Let me go ahead and double check his list here. We have that. Actually, oh, there is no healing in this deck at all. Okay, so if Mikhael is aware of Eric's stylistic choices, which he should be, because he was in the call yesterday when we talked about this, then he should be able to gamble the fact that Eric doesn't have any healing cards in this particular lineup at all, which means at 12 hit points, if you get control of the Scion Ambassador, if you've marked Freyhill using Yami, Freyhill will have 0 armor. She's not worshipped. Oh, no, she is worshipped, excuse me. So never mind. She will have 1 armor, as Brilvar will provide it within 3. I can't see a scenario where Brilvar does not end within 3 of Freyhill this turn. So you will still be able potentially to do a lot of damage there and kill the Freyhill. All right, so Mikhael is going to activate here. Who is, I assume this has to be Freyhill. Okay, we're going to worship and skirmish, targeting the Freyhill there. Oh, and the +3 on the flip. Very nice. 3 piercing damage, so that 2 armor that Freyhill has right now does not matter. Now, does Mikhael go for the attack, or does he go for the move here? If you move, you can send Freyhill into your dome, get control of the Scion Ambassador, and then potentially kill Freyhill if Yami does enough damage, but nope, we're going to go for the attack. Time Glitch does deal 4 damage then, so that brings us down to 5. So in this situation, if Mikhael does have a clear mind, which is very much... Oh, Yami is disarmed, though. I guess you could double clear mind, potentially. And then skirmish into the cover hex, worship onto Freyhill, and then move into the dome. I guess you would need a double clear mind because the disarm doesn't affect the worship damage. So I guess if you have a single clear mind, skirmish, worship, move is a possible course of action for Yami. With 5 HP left, you cannot kill with the worship action, particularly because Freyhill will have 1 armor, so the max damage you would do is 3 damage. And so therefore that would set up for a tamer point for Mikhael with that result, if he has a clear mind. If he does not have a clear mind, I think that he just goes and tries to kill Freyhill. Because, no, that is Astrida that has the lead, excuse me. Before any of that happens, of course, we will need to consider what Brilvar is going to do. Brilvar might, Eric, I think, senses the potential assassination. What he could do here is position... Nope, that's still 3. Never mind. Regardless of where Brilvar would position himself, even if it was in the lane, Yami would still be able to get back into the dome with a move action if she has a cleanse in order to remove that effect. Which also, now that I think about it, because Tilakali is in this deck, that means there are charm cards. So with the skirmish action, he could move into line of sight of Freyhill. Freyhill could remove the slow from him and then do the worship and the move action as well. So that is also a possibility that we might see. So there are 6 cards that Mikhael needs out of his deck that could help Yami set up for the tamer kill on Freyhill. Let's see if that is able to go off. Now Freyhill is currently shapeshifted, which means Brilvar will not be able to use a worship action to heal her any. And as I mentioned, there are no cards in the deck for Ian, excuse me, not Ian. If I could get the players' names right, that would be amazing. For Eric, there are, let's see, we have some Psychic Shields, we have some, oh, well, wait a minute. Okay, so Brilvar is packing some Shield Slams. So, dependent on where Brilvar, okay, Brilvar is worshipping, that means he has to be worshipping Astrida, because you would never worship yourself in this situation until last. We are going to heal up Astrida, that makes sense. 1 HP for Astrida, 0 plus the flip. Or excuse me, 1 plus the 0 flip, as she is within range of 3. So what could potentially happen is that Brilvar has a Shield Slam in hand, and so when Yami goes for the nope, if we position there, then none of that matters. So it looks like Eric is going to go and commit into the lane here. I assume we attack a minion as, oh, or we just play Bewitch. Okay, so in that case, we're going to kill a minion, spawn a minion. That's pretty big. And significantly changes, I think, Mikhael's plan. So the control token actually can't damage the tower in this round. So I'm going to change what Mikhael might want to do. He may wish to move, skirmish into the cover hex there. If he can get rid of the slow, I think you use Yami to destroy one of the minions, and then you worship onto the terror and teleport Yami into the dome to get control of the Scion Ambassador. That does make it a little bit harder to kill Freyhill. As a result, she would have 2 armor. But if you don't do that, I feel like, well, your 2 minions are going to die anyways. That would leave Eric with 7 minions next round as opposed to 6, though, which could set you up for instant tower destruction. So let's see what happens here. Yami looks like she's going to activate. She does have 2 mana. Freyhill has 2 mana. Let's see what Mikhael can do here. Okay, there's the Clear Mind. That makes perfect sense. Yami now gets +1 attack, and we remove, I assume, the slow. Yep, because if you're going for the skirmish, the worship, and then potentially the move action here. Oh, yeah, no. No. Skirmish, worship onto Freyhill, and then you move through the minion into the dome as your final result. Although Freyhill does have 1 mana left. If Freyhill does a shield slam... Okay, this is not what I thought was coming. We are going to worship onto the terror. Why? I guess he wants to use the... Okay. So the terror takes 1 point of damage. I guess he wants to use the move to go through a minion and then skirmish against Freyhill. That could possibly... And then potentially quick shot the minion on his way out. And this actually makes more sense to me now that I think about it. Wait, what? No. Okay. That was not what I thought at all. We're committing to killing the terror. Because sure, why not? That is one of the things now. The terror and the Silent Ambassador can be attacked and killed as conditions for both of the double kill and tamer results. And of course, if the terror dies, then you just don't get him in his dome. Mikhael realizing, I think, that perhaps contesting both domes is out of the question. So if we just kill the terror, then we can fight over Dome 1, Dome 2 all day. And in a head-to-head contest, I think Michael's aggro will manage to cause Eric some grief. So with that being the result here, Yami will win Dome number 2. Eric will win the lane as well as the terror there. So we're going to see that control token slam against Michael's tower. Both of those minions are dead. Again, as we mentioned, because it is out of line of sight currently, Michael's tower does not take any damage. But there are a whole lot of minions on Eric's side right now. 2 of those minions will have to reposition themselves due to being out of the line of sight of the control point, but the other 2 are perfectly safe as well. We did see a shield slam be flipped as a result of Yami's attack, which means that's less cards that can be used potentially for minion damage control. I will say that is one of the issues that I see with this deck, is whenever the opponent gets a huge swarm of minions, if you have difficulty setting up your position, it can be difficult to clear them out. The deck does have Quick Shot. The deck does have Clear Mind. Excuse me, not Clear Mind, Shield Slam. That works to disable those. But if you get a huge swarm of minions, then things could potentially become overwhelming. All right, so terror is going to spawn there. So in this situation, I feel like Wormhole is going to come out because you just kind of swap the terror far and away. With the Silent Ambassador, you can Stone Storm these 2. That makes perfect sense. We're going to keep them corralled in the area, and a +3 on the flip. All right, so Brilvar is not shapeshifted. Freyhill is. They both have 2 armor, so that's going to bring Freyhill to 3. Brilvar down to 15. So in this situation, if Mikhael flips a +2, then that is a dead Freyhill on an attack. I assume that you want to go for that kill there. Or is he going to try... Yeah, because there's no real reason to set up for a double kill. I don't think that there's enough kill pressure as of right now. Although we are heading into turn 3, so that is something to be considered. So we'll see what the next result is here. It looks like we are going for a potential flip of some sort. +1. No, not what you wanted to see. Oh, wait, what? We're skirmishing against the terror. Okay, so we are going for a Wormhole play, I assume, because otherwise that would not make any sense. And yes, throw that terror away, far away. Line of sight is seen to the terror and within 4. So the Silent Ambassador is one of the heroes that does break the kind of within 3 general standard for actions in Skytear. The Silent Ambassador's wormhole is within 4. So now the terror basically is unable to affect any of the heroes except potentially Hokusai. You'd have to skirmish and move. And then you could do... you could still use Dreadful Majesty because that pulls you to him, not the terror to you. So it is possible that Hokusai or Freyhill could be dragged using the Dreadful Majesty, but this is going to significantly limit the effectiveness of the Terror of the Endless Night. It is, of course, possible as well. You could skirmish next to Freyhill and Brilvar, drag one of Hokusai and Freyhill over, and then give Freyhill Frenzy. Freyhill is currently shapeshifted, so a Frenzy would result in double piercing attacks. That could lay on a significant amount of damage to whomever Freyhill went after. So we'll have to see what Eric chooses to do with this setup. But right now, I would kind of say this is kind of a pretty dream setup, given for what he went through. This is a pretty good setup for Michael. Okay, so we are going to... Oh, no. Oh, poor Hokusai. Oh, no. So Hokusai has been banished to the far reaches of the map where there is absolutely no action, disarmed, and slowed. So basically, Hokusai's only possible contribution is taking over Dome 2, or potentially getting a quick worship in round 3. We do know that Hokusai's ultimate is gone. I don't think we've seen Kneel Before Me. I'm pretty sure I saw Glacial Rebirth, as well as the 1000th Ritual. I don't remember seeing Yami's ultimate, so that is still potentially something that we might see. Now that I look at this, with Astrida's positioning, if Michael is able to deal enough damage, and he has Kneel Before Me, well, no, with the armor, Freyhill would not die to Kneel Before Me. Kneel Before Me would only do 2 damage as long as Brilvar is there. So you would have to remove that. Now, if Freyhill does have a charm, you could remove the worship mark and do that as well. So this would require a lot of finagling and a lot of specific setup here, but double kill is a possibility here for Michael. 13 HP on the Astrida. Let's see what else we could... If there's a Rampant Hatred from Freyhill, that would take all of her mana and then leave you without a way to get the... Yeah, if there's a Rampant Hatred, Hokusai could potentially make a comeback here, as Rampant Hatred would give him a free skirmish. Although he is disarmed, so that does reduce the damage that he would be able to dish out, but it would at least allow him to add on some positioning. Let's see what we have as a result. So I think Astrida is... going to get her time in here. Sacrifices 2 HP to bring her down to 11. Now, she is not within range 3 of Freyhill. So any worship action on her part would not result... Oh, no, there's the Bewitch. Okay. This is kind of rough. That is a lot of minions. And with no Dragon Punch and no Supernova available, I don't know how Michael survives this. You are looking at 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 minions, plus 2 more heroes, which is 10, plus a 3rd hero with a lead. That would get us to 14. If there's a presence involved, 15. I don't see what we do in this case to survive. I think Eric has pretty much locked this one down. Unless there is some miracle play here where Michael gets a double kill, I don't see how this survives. So this game is over this round, I think, in one way or the other. That is a lot of pressure. And this, I mentioned, this is kind of one of the shortcomings of this particular deck, is that it does have a challenge if you let the minion numbers get out of control it does become difficult to control it. There are tools in the deck to control it. There, as I mentioned, we do have Yami for the Path of the Reaper. We do have quick shots. We do have shield slams. But when the minion count gets this high, it does get a little bit more difficult. Kneel Before Me could also potentially be used to drag Astrida out of the line of sight of the control token. Although, again, with the amount of minions on the field, I'm not sure that that matters. This is, again, as I'm not sure that Michael has too many outs here. Trying to flip through the deck real quick, thinking, is there any possibility here? We know we've seen some quick shots and some shield slams used already, so that's going to be limited in number, even if you completely burned all of Yami's mana. Hokusai has to skirmish and move just to get in range of one minion. That's not going to do too much. Yeah, this is looking a bit rough for Michael here. I'm not sure what the strategy is here. I think Michael's possibly trying every possible combination of moves. He does have all three of his heroes to activate, of course. Killing off Freyhill could induce card draw. But again, as I mentioned, the cards that you would need, whether that is a Rampant Hatred, whether that is a Kneel Before Me, killing off Freyhill, I think in this case, all right, we're going to go ahead with Yami. So let's go ahead and move. I think that has to be your play. I think that has to be your out. If Kneel Before Me is not a possibility, I think you need to get Kneel Before Me out in order to do something. Potentially from a card draw. We're going to worship on Freyhill. We're going to reduce her armor down, so that's going to bring her to 1 armor. Going for the flip, this can kill with a +3, as she has 1 armor right now. Also, the terror is no longer marked, very important. So what do we have here as a result? Although I think in this case, do you actually want Freyhill to die? No. Oh, there's a Snowblind. Okay. Snowblind, yep, that's going to get Freyhill, which means that her piercing power is cut in half. Of course, if there is a charm, that is useful. Silent Ambassador also disarmed, although I don't think that matters. As I mentioned, the Silent Ambassador is not going to see another activation this particular game. Placing the mark on the terror. Okay. We did not mark Freyhill. Interesting. What are we... Oh, the +3. That would have killed Freyhill. So... Why are we... I feel like this has to involve a Rampant Hatred. Somehow. Because there's... The problem still remains is that Hokusai is disarmed. And so, even with Rampant Hatred going off... Okay, so Freyhill plays Charm. Targeting Yami, that's fine. So this is going to remove the disarm from Yami. But why is he targeting the terror? There has to be a Rampant Hatred, and there has to be another charm. That can only be the only possibility here. That he's setting up for that. Because with Hokusai, potentially if you mark the... Well, the terror's already marked. So you blow up Freyhill with the worship, potentially, on a flip. You just need a +2 on the flip since it does piercing. If there's a Rampant Hatred, you can get potential damage. Okay, so Michael has kids in the house. We need to give him a few minutes, no problem. And so Yami's attack is on the stack. And the charm has resolved. Okay, so we are currently resolving that. Yes. Yeah, I guess Eric's obviously not listening to me. So we are going to have a short delay of game. As a result, Michael does need to step away from the game for just a second here, so we will have a short delay of game. As Eric has mentioned, we do have the charm resolved. Yami's attack still on the stack, so that will be what resolves as Michael comes back. So in the meantime, as I mentioned, it is turn 3, and what better time than to talk about the green card? The green card is in fact a +2. So that's all the information I'm going to give to you about it today, is that it is a 1-mana green card that is a reaction with a +2 modifier. And I also did slip in a kind of subtle comment. I did manage to come up with one. It was very subtle. It was not the best, I will admit, but if you did happen to pick up on something odd that I may have said, it did give you a clue as to the name of the card. And I think it is a very useful card. As I mentioned it, I definitely see this going to be played a lot. And I think I'll throw in one more little tidbit from Giacomo, because this is a Giacomo comment, not a me comment. So Giacomo says that Vorhild would like this card. So having no ideas about what's going on with that hero may make that comment a little bit less than useful here, but apparently that's going to be useful in that situation. In addition, I can also tell you that for this week's episode of Outsiders Only, we do have another card as well we're going to be spoiling. I won't give any information out about that one, as we don't want to drop too many spoilers too quickly, because then all of the fun is ruined. But there will be another card that we will discuss on that particular podcast during tomorrow's recording, and then we will hope to get that release out by Wednesday. This week, of course, we will be saying goodbye to Rem, the other original member of the Outsiders Only podcast, so we're going to have him on the show. Zaragul, Carito, and I then are going to talk a little bit about the direction that we hope to go as we kind of grab the torch and carry it forward. What we would like to see from the show, what we'd like to do, potential guests that we would like to host. We've talked about it, and we have a good idea, I think, of what we want to do up through and a week or two after the World Championships. So for about the next 8 episodes, I think we have an outline. Of course, we will be reaching out to the community to field questions from our specific guests, or for our specific guests, I should say. So please do keep an eye on the Outsiders Only channel to see what guests we will be bringing on. We will solicit questions, and of course they can be Skytear related or non-Skytear related. If you want to stir the pot, you can always ask those hot button controversial questions. I am absolutely not afraid to ask the uncomfortable questions, such as, does one prefer pineapple on pizza? I realize that many people have disowned family members over such a situation, the preference or disdain for such a topping. I will not comment on my position on that. We'll leave that as a mystery. All right, so looks like we're back in action, and the response to the attack the charm resolved before the attack resolves, we're going to have Freyhill play a sinkhole. So this is going to be on the circle, or on the hex that we saw targeted. That's going to cause this attack to fizzle, which means that whatever double kill potential shenanigans Michael was hoping to set up here are just about ruined. We see the area of effect, so Freyhill's going to move away, the bear is going to move away, that's going to make Yami's attack fizzle, and with that, I think possibly Michael's last hopes. Unless, well, let's see, Terror is at 9. Terror is at 9. Does Freyhill... Nope, we've already seen Glacial Rebirth, so Freyhill cannot just go in and get the piercing damage there. Freyhill is disarmed as well. That's going to cut her damage output. with lucky flips. Is that enough? I don't believe it is. I think even with a Hokusai Rampant... Well, if Mikhael has 2 Rampant Hatreds... Oh no, Freyhill already played a mana this turn. Never mind. Double Rampant Hatred is off the table. This is tough. That is tough. Alright, so Mikhael has ended Yami's activation. So now Freyhill or Brilvar goes. I think at this point you just activate Freyhill and run her as far away from the terror as possible, making it next to impossible to kill. Yep, Freyhill's going to activate. Just honestly run her down into Mikhael's base area, far, far away from any kill potential. Is there a reaction, though? We seem to have a pause on the action, so... Nope. Eric is going to flip skirmish against Freyhill. Okay. Going to go ahead and move down there into the dome. Yep. That's going to make it next to impossible for Hokusai to get to. So, in this situation, what I can only see happening here is Hokusai moves... Hokusai blows up Freyhill with the Purifying Flames. Hokusai then draws, from the death, we draw Kneel Before Me to have Yami assist on damaging the terror. Okay, Song of the Siren. That's going to be probably the nail in the coffin. With that amount of HP restored, I don't think it's possible with a disarmed Freyhill. That's going to be big. So the last action from Greenrill was the worship action to shapeshift and heal herself, bringing her up to 7. So Mikhael now needs to find a way to deal a combined total of 7 plus 9, 16 damage. The Terror has no armor, but Freyhill has 2. So with that, Purifying Flame Kill is off the table. You could still use it to mark her, reduce her armor by 1, potentially use the Rampant Hatred to skirmish in. Freyhill, I think, has to go. Yellow Freyhill has to go, I think. Well, this is tough. So Brilvar is just going to kind of taunt whoever doesn't activate and get in the way. And so I feel like that's kind of a problem. That is an issue. So now, let's see. Freyhill is in the dome. As we mentioned, there is no card in Mikhael's deck other than Kneel Before Me that can maneuver Astrida out of the line of the token. Yami has already activated, which means Yami is not able to get to Astrida, so Astrida is not going anywhere. I'm trying to figure out what Mikhael does in this case. All right, we activate Freyhill. All right, so do we move? I think we move. Okay. Are we going to remove Hokusai's disarm? Nope, we're going to attack the Terror of the Endless Night. So this will be a piercing attack. No, we're not. Freyhill is not shapeshifted. So this is not a piercing attack. So that is 3 damage, cut in half to 1.5, rounded up to 2 damage because there is no armor. Terror down to 7. So we need 7 on both. What is Freyhill's next option? So that is the second Rampant Hatred I think I've seen. I'm not sure if we saw the third. I can't remember. So there is potentially 1 Rampant Hatred left for Mikhael. We will see the skirmish action. I assume again against the Terror. So this will do at least 1 point of damage. 2 damage there, cut down into 1. Terror down to 6. Okay. Does he skirmish and move? Okay, so we're going to plug up Brilvar. So that makes it harder for Brilvar to get within taunt range. And it makes me think that that's what we're going to see. We're going to potentially see... Rampant Hatred is absolutely critical. If there's no Rampant Hatred here, that's game over. Although with this positioning now, Kneel Before Me is significantly less effective because my idea was to use Kneel Before Me on the Terror. There is no way to use Kneel Before Me on... Well, I guess technically you could use Kneel Before Me to move the Terror out of the range if he already has it. And then Hokusai can... This is gonna require a lot of moving pieces here to see if this works out. Michael, I think, needs everything to line up just perfectly here and get good flips, which I guess, to be fair, would be part of getting everything to line up perfectly in order for him to survive. Because as it stands, he has committed. That tower is gone if we resolve Control Zone 1. There is no question about that at this point. And so I guess this does come down to what is in Michael's hand. A +3 on the Hokusai for the skirmish could be enough if you can remove the disarm. There is kill potential. There is kill potential. It's going to be close. Very close, but there is kill potential. So that would have to... Yep, so if you rampant, skirmish, worship, attack, Freyhill, it's going to be close. I feel like... I feel like Kneel Before Me would be essential to dealing the damage. You could skirmish against the Terror. If you don't flip a +3, then you use Yami to finish him. That would have to be critical again, I think. Oh, this is very heart-pounding. I want someone to do something. I see a lot of the hands moving over, which means we're pointing at stuff, we're doing maths, and I have no idea what's going on. Eric does have one card left, but Brilvar only has 1 mana, so I don't foresee this being anything particularly effective here, as all it could be is a charm that would be played, or a Psychic Shield, which, to be fair, would defend Freyhill against Rampant Hatred. Which is why I think you use Rampant Hatred to go against the Terror, since you can't use that to protect the Terror. Alright, so we're going to skirmish. We're going to move. So we are, in fact, not going to affect Brilvar. Interesting. So we're going to lead, guaranteeing that this tower explodes if there's nothing done, if it was not done so already. So now, Michael, do you have the 14 different keys necessary? Brilvar is going to shapeshift and heal himself up. Again, that doesn't matter because that's not our target. R, of course, by R, we of course mean Michael. I unfortunately sometimes speak in the plural there. I apologize for that. We will now see, does Michael have the tools in order to end this? Or does Eric's overwhelming minions run down the tower like a stampede in Best Buy on Black Friday? Which, by the way, as a tangent note, if you've never seen that, I strongly encourage you to Google that. There are some insane things that I have seen as a result of Black Friday mobs. Obviously, we will probably not see those this year as much, given the COVID situation, and the COVID situation getting a little bit worse in most of our areas. Again, reminder, everyone, please stay safe. Wash your hands. Don't cluster up like the minions are or like Michael's heroes are. That's how you catch the disease. Close quarters contact, not acceptable. But regardless, it is very interesting just to watch some of the hordes and streams of people that I've seen. My brother used to work at Best Buy, and he told me that was the worst time of the year. So we will see what happens here. Is it a double kill? Is it a Nexus Destruction? Those are the only 2 options on the table. Actually, we're going to go ahead and take a peek here in the discard while we... Oh, nope, we're pinging. Why are we pinging? I have no idea why we're pinging. All right. We're going to cheat down here. I'll zoom out a little bit. And show me discard. Let's see. 1 rampant. Oh, no. Nope, that's Thousand Ritual. 1 rampant hatred. 2 rampant hatred. And there's the 3rd rampant hatred. Okay. At this point, I'm not sure what Mikhael does. Without that bonus rampant hatred, I must have missed the 2nd one. Or the 3rd one, rather, at some point. I don't know how you kill 2 people with Hokusai here. Do we just go out in a blaze of glory? All right. Well, we're gonna do something here. So Freyhill will remove the disarm, at least. So let's see. Do we use Clear Mind from Hokusai? Nope. We're gonna skirmish first. So we will go ahead and skirmish. Move 2. Flip against the Terror. Plus 2 damage on the skirmish. Of course, the Terror does not have armor, so he's down to 4. Does Mikhael have a Clear Mind, perhaps, that we go here? Okay, so the attack. So we're going to attack the outsider. This leaves in, or none at all, to his deck, depending on what his beliefs are. I'm not here to judge. And hope that that last card was a Rampant Hatred. If it was, then Mikhael could potentially be safe. Although I suspect if it was, we probably would have seen it by this point. So the final action here has to be, although I guess if it's, oh no, he's already taken the, well, I guess you could move and then play the Rampant Hatred. That would give you a +3. You would, oh, we've got Unstoppable. Okay. That doesn't help though. You're not going to be able to get in range 3. The best you can do is target a minion. Well, no, that gives you fast. I forgot. So, do you have... Well, yeah, you have to get rid of that slow, because right now you can only move 3. Mikhael seems to be, I think, talking about the HP lines and how if the heroes had not healed as much as they did, it would have been possible for the setup play. That might be the case. If Hokusai was able to move... Yep, there it is. The Nexus Destruction. Good game to Eric. Well played. Minion Overload. Let's go ahead and chat with the players.
To worship on him as well.
Good game, gentlemen. That was intense.
It was the flip of yesterday's.
Yes.
Mikhael was going for double kill, and I just had to not get double killed.
Yep. I saw that, and I was thinking of like all the different ways that Mikhael could do this, and then the sinkhole came in, and I'm like, oh no, he's got to have Rampant Hatred. Then I inspected your discard, and I'm like, oh no, he's flipped all the Rampant Hatreds already, and so I was trying to figure out what like all the 15
Rampant
cards.
Hatred would have done it. Yeah, Rampant Hatred would have been fantastic.
Yeah, because you could have moved you could have moved with the bonus and then worshipped, and that probably would have been enough to kill her.
Yeah, that might have been. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not dooming Freyhill when she activated was probably the one of the biggest issues that I had there.
Yeah, that makes it interesting. So I mean,
yeah,
I didn't
that
know
was
when
another
to
thing
play.
Is I had the Unstoppable in hand for round 2, and I should have led in the center. Like you had already done most of your damage, and you weren't doing any more damage. You were just focusing on the minions. So if I had led with a 3 there, I would have only lost. I wouldn't have lost actually. I would have, or no, I would have only lost by 1, and and things would have been.
You get to keep a couple minions then. Yep.
Yeah. Bewitch is strong.
Yeah.
Bewitch is really really stinking strong.
So I didn't get to do it at all. This is my trample deck, right, that we did, and I didn't play the trample version anytime the entire match. And so I was like, maybe you won't put Takali down, because Takali just stops trample. Like, Doom also does, but, you might not draw it. But Takali just one pillar, and it's like, yeah, you can't trample round one. So the Bewitches are in the same Astrida deck as the tramples, and so I put it in there. But otherwise, they wouldn't have been in here. And then you did that, and my tramples were all, like, dead cards the entire game.
So you had I didn't even notice tramples. You flipped them, and I didn't even notice them. Was that your last card? Oh my gosh, you led with tramples.
I led with tramples, because what am I going to do with them? I have a Call of the Pack, but I have no mana to play it. I was going to, If you kill Frail early in the round, she was going to get her Sinkhole off in some way, either to hold Hokusai back or like she did to just prevent something. And that my hope was you'd kill Frail. Like if you had Kneel before me there, yes, you kill Frail. That's fine. Then Kordjov can come up and, use the mana for Call of the Pack and stuff. So, but then when we got to that point, and I was like, now there's two guys here with 2 low life. I just got to split them up. I can't let Hokusai be near 2 guys. I got to make it hard for you. So that's when she decided to play a little bit of chicken and run over there.
She certainly did that. What's funny though is if so you were at what 3? I think, or
3 life. Yep.
That's not your health total. There's your health total. I think you were at
4.
You were at 4.
No, I went to 7, so I was at 3. You're right. I was at 3.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you were at 3. If you declare a skirmish and I kneel before me, you were worried about you thought it was going to kill you.
Yeah.
I think it wasn't, because you weren't marked.
Yeah.
It would have done exactly 2 damage to you because you still had 2 armor, and it doesn't mark you until after the fact.
Correct.
Got it.
Yep. Order of operations is important, and frankly, did save you.
Yep. Now I could have yanked you over here, but it's still it does the damage before it moves you.
Huh. So if you have it though, that's not bad, right? You put me there, right next to Hokusai.
Yep. And then Hokusai and it's just.
You don't get to cast the Doom then though, because you use all your mana on the Kneel before me, right?
No, I can still Doom from Hokusai at that point.
But then you don't get to use Unstoppable, which I think is kind of important.
Not necessarily, because I had the charms and a clear mind.
Okay.
So I can get rid of the slow and the charms.
Yeah.
Okay. I just didn't have 4 mana. Oh, what a game!
That was really well played though by both of you. Very, very good game to watch.
I just like how this tower's going down and Frail's like, no, I'm just leaving to go talk to Hokusai, my buddy.
My BFF Hokusai.
No, I started that game with 0 3-drops in hand, and when you presenced Dome 2, I was like, okay, I have 2 options here. I can either go and try to tie Dome 3, or I can try to tie Dome 2 and get damage on Frail. And I valued that more than tying up Dome 3.
Yep.
It was that was rough. Whew. Good game. Good game.
Yeah. Congratulations, Eric. You take 3rd place, which nets you 6 Skytear tokens. Michael, you still claim 3 more, so both of you inch closer to the World Championships. 3 games left to play for those qualifiers. Both of you very much in contention, and I hope to see both of you there.
Spoiler alert, I'm not going to be able to make it.
Oh, no.
Oh, feels bad, man.
I mean, I'm still going to participate in the tournaments, but this is the closest I've gotten to winning one of these, and I don't think if I think if I even top the rest of, or not top, but get into cuts in the rest of them, I'm not going to make it. So
well, I mean,
I'll still participate for the high level games. But
yeah, shoot for stuff. Never know what happens. Sometimes things will shake out in your favor.
Yeah, that's true. Anyways, I've got to go, guys.
Yep. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Michael.
Good game, guys.
Thank you, RG.
Not a problem. My pleasure. All right, so for both Eric and Michael, thank you all for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the teaser hints that I dropped for the new card. We will reveal that new card tomorrow, as I mentioned, when Clinton and Ian go head-to-head to determine who is the championship for this month's qualifier.